You are listening to the Starter Girls podcast with Jennifer Loading. Whether you are starting a project, starting a business, starting a brand, or starting a movement, we are here to talk about it. And I'm super excited today. I've got Roya Mattis on the show today. And so I want to welcome her to the Starter Girls podcast. Hi, Roya. How are you?
Hi.
All right.
So excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. So I'm going to tell our listeners a little bit about you real quick, and then we will jump in this and start talking about it. All right. So Roya did not set out to build her life's work helping women. She describes the last 18 years as a divine appointment she did not expect. Roya's career in direct sales has taken her to achieving a level currently held by approximately 225 women nationwide. Additionally, she has been number one in personal sharing in her division of approximately 200,000 independent consultants twice and in the top 10 3 times. She led her organization to top 20 and top 10 for 6 years before promoting to her current position. Roya invested heavily as a platinum partner with the Tony Robbins organization, attending every workshop, including those not available to the public. She's done additional workshops with Brendan Bouchard and is a body language enthusiast. She's participated in over 600 hours of immersion training, believing that the speed of the leader is the speed of the gang, and that school is never out for the pro. As a life and sales coach and a speaker, her primary question is, how can I make a difference to others? Roya believes that the time has come for the third phase of the female revolution in the U.S. The first phase was suppression. Second was liberation to want to do it all and be it all. In working intimately with women and having struggled with many of these issues herself, she believes this has been a slight miss, leaving many women feeling unsatisfied, frustrated, guilty, and stressed out. We feel trapped by our own freedom. It's time to unify a woman's complete sense of self, unify women to advocate for each other, and unify women with men. She calls this the SHE-ness. SHE-ness is fresh, sexy, healthy, confident. It's the realization of one's own unique she. Roya believes that when women walks in the essence, she will find a flow in her life and men will be happier too. Completely committed to the women of the organization she's built, Roya is simply expanding beyond the beauty case, honoring the calling of its founder, who's been quoted, "If just one more woman today discovered how great she really is, it'd be a great day." Married to Noah, they celebrate their 10-year-old daughter and 5-year-old son. Being a mother has been so important to Roya Mattis. She's been preparing herself since she was 5. I love this bio, by the way. I had to read all of it. I'm like, man, I got to do your accolades here because this is so incredible. Like, you just got all this stuff rocking.
I love you. Thank you. And I need to update it. My son just turned 7 and my daughter is 11. So.
Well, hey, thanks for clarifying that, but it's still good. It's still good. You know what's so funny is every time we do these accolades, it's so crazy because you get them out and then that's when you realize it's there's a dog change, a kid's birthday, something. You're like, it's time to update the accolades. I've done that many times. I got 3 of them. So I'm like, at any given time, it's one of them's got to be changing an age, you know? So totally get it. So I want to jump in here. I want to talk about this SHE-ness and how all this came about, because our listeners are like, okay, what is this SHE-ness all about? And I kind of gave them a little bit of intro in your bio, but I want you to talk about this and tell us what this is.
Oh, girl, listen, this came as a divine calling that I didn't call into my life. It was a happenstance. It was an intervention. It was actually kind of a culmination of my life, really, is what I would say, because I've been mentoring women for about 19 years now. And in that time, there seemed to be a pattern that continued and that I recognized in myself. So it was this pattern of high achieving women being in this state of the having it all, the independence part of history, right? And even though we're supposed to be able to have it all, there's this underlying guilt as mothers, on average, in relationships that are not quite satisfying, where they don't feel heated or they don't feel seen and held. And just this underlying discontent that they don't feel quite satisfied and they don't know why. They're not enjoying all the fruits of their labor, not enjoying all the gifts that are to come that are biologically designed for them. And so one of my main things as a mentor that I realize that I have is the ability to kind of get to the root of an issue. And so I was experiencing pain myself, the similar kind of struggles. And in the workshops actually that I went to, I was introduced to the concept I'd never heard of: masculine energy, feminine energy. What is it? Why does it matter? Well, some of you are familiar with it that are listening, and some of you are like, okay, what does that matter and what does that mean? So essentially, to boil it down to simple, we all have both in our bodies. Masculine being the drive win as the bottom line, the point A to point B energy, and the feminine being the holistic view, seeing what happens when we do X, Y, and Z. And it's the sporadic love energy, so to speak. And so SHEness is about recognizing that as a high achieving woman, in particular, we drive in that winning state a lot. And that can be as a home engineer, as a woman at home, or in the workforce. If you are a person that just is a task oriented, you like to get things done and you want to achieve, you want to make a difference, you want to have things the best of whatever you do, we tend to drive in this masculine energy. And there is another part of us that gets neglected, and there was another part of me that was neglected, and I didn't even know it existed, and that's the feminine energy part. And we really put it down, Jennifer, in society. We put it down. We say, that's the one that we sexualize. That's the one that we think is flighty. That's the one that we think is unimportant. That's the silly one. That's the childish one. That's the one we demean. And so when we give it no value and we don't give it equality, right now we're in society talking a lot about equality. Mm-hmm. We don't give that both energies equality. We diminish one and we tuck it away. And so SHEness is bringing back the pride in that both parts of ourselves, the masculine part and the feminine part, and unifying it within ourselves. And so there's 3 phases and 3 levels. Would you like me to tell you that?
Yes, I love this. Keep going. We love it. Yes, we love it. Keep going.
So the first in anything, whenever we want to make a change, and let me pause and say this, how do you know if you're driving primarily in masculine energy, if this is going to apply to you at all, is your body will actually give you signals. So if you are carrying additional tension in your shoulders or neck, if you take antacids on a regular basis, and it's not for medical reasons or injury, okay? So I'm going to say, disclaimer, could be, and if you don't have medical reasons, right? If you are having low uterine pain, like really down low, it hurts. That was my thing. I got so many tests. It hurt so bad down there on occasions. Nothing was wrong with me. That. If you have hip pain, you hold a lot of tension in your hips, that can be another sign. So those are some physical signs. And there's emotional signs. So maybe you're agitated more often than you want to be. Maybe you feel like you're just holding in frustration a lot, and you're thinking, why am I so freaking frustrated right now? Right. Or you're laying next to your partner and you feel completely alone right next to him. You feel like you have to handle when things get hard. You have to step up and take care of it. And it is upsetting. Then you're driving in masculine a lot. So it's about unifying first to self. So whenever there's a problem, whenever there's a challenge, then we want to enjoy our life. We don't want to have these physical ailments. We don't want to be irritable. We do want to feel held. We do want to have a marriage where we get home, we're like, yes, I'm so excited to see you. And he's so excited to see you, or she. And you want to feel like you're heard and they hear and you hear them. Then these things are the steps. So the first is in SHEness is unifying fully to self. So whenever you want to heal, you start with self first, unifying all areas and we work a lot on bringing out that feminine energy, how to do it. there's techniques how to do it. So I had to learn them for me.
Yeah.
And then I've transferred them on to other women. The second phase, then once you fully love yourself and appreciate yourself, and there's no right self to be she. So whatever your self is, then there's more self-acceptance. Then you can unify with other she's. And so then it's unifying to sisters. And if you look at history, if you look before we became civilized, women sat around in campfire circles and men went out and hunted. Now, I'm using this for ease of conversation, but you can be a woman with primarily masculine energy and you can be a man with primarily feminine energy. So fill in the blank if you are more primarily masculine or feminine. But if you're primarily feminine, you would have sat by the campfire and you would have communed. And half of the women were facing into the fire to watch the children and cook, and half of them were looking out for danger. And we were meant to talk and share how to find the berries in detail. And then the hunters go off and isolate. They come back with the kill. And that's masculine energy, drive, win, isolation. Well, as we become more independent, we put a lot, don't we, Jennifer, of pride in be independent. You can do it yourself. If you need someone, there's something wrong with you. I'm here to remind us that biologically, the feminine needs community. We crave it in our soul. And this is a girl that came from 3 brothers. I had mostly guy friends. I had 2 girlfriends. Girls were catcalling and backstabbing and irritating and too much work, and too much drama. But when you find those healthy female relationships, it's a part that we don't realize our soul needed.
Yeah.
And so unifying then women in self-acceptance, and this will help to bridge the inequality when we come together that we've been feeling. And then the third phase will allow us to invite instead of fight with our men. I see us in the third phase, the female for evolution. The first was suppression, the second independence. And while we had to swing that pendulum hard, and I give a lot of respect to our founding mothers that did that, we continue to swing it in this direction, continue to fight. And if you look at anything that's been done well in history, from Mother Teresa to Gandhi to Martin Luther King to Jesus Christ himself, it's been done with love. And we're talking about that now in Black Lives Matter, going back to love. And so we're talking about inviting instead of fighting. Once we heal ourselves, heal between each other, then we want to invite our men as well.
I love this. I can listen to you for a while. I was totally and I agree with you on so many of these points that you were talking about, the masculine energy and on being task oriented and driving. And it's that kind of that push that we've come in the last, generation. I think that's what we've been taught is that, being independent. And I love it. I just love what you're talking about. It's awesome. So awesome. You're so fun, Roya.
Oh,
you are so fun. You are so fun. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple other things here because you have had an incredible. I'm looking, like going back to your bio and just moving in this direction. And I know of the company, so I know all the background on all this. So what you're doing, I think is incredible, and you have such a great influence. So I think the SHEness fits in so well with where you're at. I think it all kind of goes hand in hand. And I always talk about, because we came from that same group. When you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. So you're definitely doing the right thing. I love it. So what I want to ask you is, and you've kind of touched upon this, what do you love most about what you get to do? Like, what is the best part that you have about being able to influence? And you've talked about the relationships, and I agree with you on the connections. I do believe, and I've talked about this even when we were in isolation, connections are huge. We need them. And when we don't have them, we suffer in a lot of ways, physically and mentally. So what would you say, is your most favorite part of doing what you do?
It's so juicy to watch a woman, reignite the fire.
I love how you put that. I just love how you put that. It's such great verbiage. I love it.
You watch the juice reignite in her. That little girl, like joy and juice and like yumminess.
Right.
I love to watch her unapologetic yumminess come out, and where she gets to go, oh my gosh, things are just attracting to me. And I get to help them rediscover the phenomenal dimensions that they've been squashing.
Yeah.
And then to be able to watch their relationships flourish again, and to watch them find the confidence and self-love.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a,
if we could just pass that on, confidence without competition and inner self-love coupled with clear, open, unapologetic boundaries, we would have a different world. I was actually just having a conversation with someone the other day because, we're always evolving. I'm always evolving, Jennifer. I'm in my own evolution every day and self-discovery. And I noticed when I'm working with other women on, I noticed something in myself. If you think to yourself, okay, I'm really assertive and I have boundaries. Where are you assertive and where do you have boundaries? I'm really assertive and I have boundaries, and I can do it very kindly and inviting, the way I teach about in my professional world. But what I noticed recently is that I swallowed my voice with my personal relationships. I would say it, not always, and I would say it swallowed. You know that one where you kind of get it out to whisper to see what their reaction's going to be, and then you kind of, oh, never mind, it's no problem. Yeah. And you swallow it back in. And I'm thinking to myself, why is no one hearing? Why are these people not hearing me? It's because I'm burying that boundary because I'm trying to please the person I'm talking to.
Right.
And the conversation that was enlightening for me was when we ladies and men are inauthentic to our own visceral need, we are actually out of integrity. And that was big to me. Like, I'm big on integrity.
Right.
I'm out of integrity. First, I'm out of integrity with myself. And second, I'm out of integrity with you because I'm actually lying to you about who I really am and what I really desire and what I'm going to need to show up fully and at my best for you. And so creating those boundaries will also allow us to open up more freely because the feminine has been taken advantage of. The feminine has had immature masculine harm us. So then we put on this mask that isn't really ours to wear. Yeah. And so I work and have joy in helping women unveil that mask and be able to fully smile again for real.
That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. So a fun question. Who would you say has been your greatest influencers? You can be one or you can have multiple.
Honestly, for me, it's a culmination because since I like to get to the root of an issue, it's watching what's happening in the underbelly of all the women that I coach, hundreds over the years, maybe thousands. They're my inspiration. And so then when you're that drawn and driven to make change and to bring joy to you and to them and love to you and them, I have to grab it from a lot of different places because it's never within one source. So I've become a fiend and a voracious appetite for all kinds of podcasts and events and so forth. I mean, I've literally invested almost $200,000 in learning about this stuff that you guys get to have.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, when you were talking about evolving, and that's really what it's about. You can't lead people where you will not go, right? Or where you haven't been. You can't do that. And I really feel 100% that I believe, your statement, education's never out for the pro. I talk about that all the time. It's not. You can't stop because I always talk about the box. The minute you stop educating yourself, you put yourself in a box and you put the lid on it because you're done. Yeah. And I think it's great that you're doing that. And I will agree with you. It's really neat to see people evolve and just, and when you have that personal story, when you were talking about like your own things and working with women, that's one of the things when I was talking with you earlier about why the podcast was created, because that's what it was for me. I was working with all these women. I had wrestled with self-esteem issues. I had seen women, and it's very difficult to teach people how to run a business or operate something when you've got to confront those other demons that are going on in there. And so I think that it's so great that you had all that incredible training and you're able to influence and lead these women. And I love your energy. So I think that in itself too is a great blessing. They are definitely lucky to have you in their space. I think it's incredible.
And vice versa. This is where we're kindred spirits. You know how to collect. I know how to collect. Jennifer, we're both passionate about eliminating, competing, and comparing and collecting. Like, we're both clear. We can't deliver everything to everyone, but we can collect. And that's what I do in SHEness Tribe. We have a private Facebook group where I bring in a speaker every week, and you're going to speak on it.
I know, I'm excited.
And we share our gifts and our knowledge with each other freely because that's campfire talk. It's our campfire. It's our virtual campfire now.
Absolutely. I love it. And I love the campfire analogy. Okay. So I'm going to do some fun questions with you. And these are like random, I call them rapid fires. They're just fun. You don't even have to think, I promise you. Okay. So are you a morning or night person?
Night.
Love it.
But I have to do both now.
That happens sometimes, doesn't it? But the good thing is you're probably very...
Once you have kids.
Yes, I'm with you 100%. Mine are all big now, so I can kind of go back. But it's weird because I'm like a morning person now. Like, I'm just done. I'm up early every day.
I love the early morning holy hour. Like, I love having that routine in the morning.
Yeah.
Although, admittedly, since COVID and homeschooling, I have not been as...
Yeah.
But my body just loves to be up at night.
Yeah. You just say you're a wolf.
That's a problem.
Yeah. No, well, no, I mean.
Yeah. So my next and final health layer is sleep having a sleep regime. So I've actually been forcing myself to listen to podcasts and start to read things about how important sleep is. So I start respecting it.
You're still learning. I love it. You're still learning. Okay. Cat or dog person?
Dog.
Do you have a dog?
I do.
Okay, awesome.
Candy, she's about 8 pounds. She's peekapoo.
Cute. Candy, I like it. It's making me think of that song,
My first
Candy.
furry baby was my Toby's Pekingese. Yeah,
so
I like the flat faces, I guess.
That's awesome. All right, are you a summer or winter person?
There's beauty in both, but I'm a warm weather girl.
I'm with you on that one.
For sure.
And
I'll sit with a little space heater all the time.
Yeah, well, I know I'm that way too. I'm cold all the time. So I always think it's harder to warm up when you're cold. When you're hot, you can kind of figure out how to cool down. You can dress appropriately. But when you're cold and your insides are cold, you can't warm up.
Like, you can't move your fingers.
I know. Like, your toes are cold and your socks. I mean, yeah, I know. I get it. All right. And what would you say is your favorite food?
Gut reaction with sushi.
I like sushi too.
I do love some sushi.
That would be one. That probably would that and chips and salsas. Sushi, they're completely different foods, but I like both. It'd be hard. If I go
to a Mexican restaurant, I can order tableside guac and eat only that with the chips and salsa.
I love it. I love it. All right, and my last really fun question I want to ask you here: if you could be any character or superhero for a day, what would you pick?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You can make it up
for a day, just one day.
Oh, you can be more if you need more. We're okay with that. I want to see what you pick on this one.
Oh goodness. I want to be able to fly.
Okay.
If I'm going to be a superhero, I need to fly. So I'm just gonna go with Wonder Woman because she could see through walls and she could fly.
I think that's great. Wonder Woman's good.
But I can relate, and the character is like Pocahontas because she's all about bringing together other cultures and communities and loving everybody.
I totally see you being a Pocahontas.
I love me some Pocahontas and Moana.
I totally could see that. I love it. So one last thing I want to mention, or I guess I want to talk to you. Any final nuggets of wisdom you want to share with our listeners? You've said so many great things on here today. Like, we could talk forever, but any last minute things you want to share with our listeners before I ask you how to find you?
I would say that Well, there's two things. One is if you're feeling like I did when I started this self-improvement journey 6 years ago, I sat in an arena and I thought, I have no stuff. I have no stuff. All these people have stuff. I have no stuff. I'm good. I feel good. And then they started asking questions.
Yeah.
And when you ask powerful questions, you get powerful answers. When you ask pitiful questions, you get pitiful answers. So if you feel like there's just stuck roads and you close the door and you block that out, or you even feel like you don't have any stuff, honey, mister, you got stuff.
You got stuff.
Like you got a lot of stuff, but you haven't even begun to peel back the layers of the onion.
Right.
So once I started to go on the onion, I'm like, oh Lord, I got a lot of stuff. And I didn't even have mega trauma but there's trauma in everybody's world and there's reasons. So there's that. Second thing I would say is that everything, the good, bad, the ugly, and the indifferent, anything that's ever happened for you, however we see it, is the most important thing. So seeing it as a gift to you, whether you think that could be real or not, if you make it real and you decide that if I decided to believe that all of it was a gift from the higher power, whatever you call your higher power, how could I leverage this as a gift? You will have the life of your imagination because you get to love the yuck and you get to love the good because you appreciate it. We were driving the car I was in the car with two of my kids and the sky was smattered in black and white clouds, very, very dark and very, very white clouds. It was a very unusual sky. The whole sky was filled with it. And in that sky, peaks of very bright sunlight was coming through the very, very dark clouds and the very, very light clouds. And my kids were like actually looking up out of the windows because it was so mesmerizing. And they were like, this is so beautiful, Mommy. It's so beautiful. Like, babies, why do you think that's so beautiful? And we talked about it. And the reason is because there was a contrast. There's so much contrast in the light and the dark. And so if you have a tapestry of light and dark that lives within you, if you've had a tapestry of light and dark in your life, it's created the most beautiful human that you could have never touched without all of those dimensions. And as we look at what's happening in the world today, we needed all the light and all the dark to see that glorious sun shine through that would have just been washed out in a bright blue sky.
It's beautiful.
So I invite you to look at all of those edges of yourself, learn to ask powerful questions. I can help you do that. If you want to tap into that other part that you might have been neglecting and get to the root cause, that's what I specialize in. And we certainly have a community in addition to Jennifer's. I mean, don't leave this forum. She's got mega things going on. I love to collect. And so if you'd like to collect us back, we'd love to have you in our forums.
Absolutely. So if our listeners wanted to learn a little bit more about you, Roya, how do they find you?
So we have a website, SHE-ness.com. We'd love for you to subscribe. We have blogs and I have 5 tips actually that you'll get for free to tap into your feminine energy to maximize the potential that lies within you already. And so you'll have that for free at SHE-ness.com. And you can find me on social media at SHEness Tribe. And then if you look under private groups in Facebook, there's SHEness Tribe on All Women's Unity Forum. We look forward to seeing you there.
Yay. This was so wonderful, Roya. Thank you for all of your incredible insights. It was amazing, amazing. We could have been here forever. I know. I could keep asking you questions.
And Jennifer, they can feel free to DM me with any questions that this might bring up. I work in my Instagram a lot under the DMs. So, and I do private coaching, but I don't advertise out loud there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I only have a few slots.
That's all right. Awesome. Well, I want to tell you thank you so much for being on our show. And I do want to say to our listeners, if you enjoy the podcast, please be sure you give us a rating, both on iTunes and Facebook, because we can't do this without you. And check out YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And with that, I am going to wrap up with our mantra. And so today is a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, Be amazing. Be you. Do you. All right, you guys take care. Be safe and be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.